Absolutely spinning around the drain. Will Smith, President Biden, doesn't matter which one you're talking about. Holy cow. You didn't know that slapping a guy in the face for a joke that wasn't even that incendiary was going to get you in trouble? You didn't know that you were going to throw away your entire reputation just to show your wife how tough you were when you were laughing at a joke, but she got upset by it? You didn't know this was going to go badly? And I said yesterday that there's nothing wrong with a husband defending his wife. There's nothing wrong with a husband getting in somebody's face who's rude to their wife. The idea that, you can't get violent about these things. Yes, you absolutely can. The question, of course, is should you? I don't think we should deny the fact that somebody can be so rude, so foul, so ugly, so evil that you might feel you have to do something about it. There is a conversation whether or not you should. In my life, I've never been in a fight. I've done some things wrong. I have been a guy who has been on the end of that insult and has reacted. Yeah, I didn't need that in my life. But the idea that you're not allowed to even think that way is what I object to. Of course you are. People who are rude, people who are abusive, people who are aggressive. The bully sometimes needs to get knocked down a peg. Chris Rock wasn't the bully. Chris Rock wasn't bullying at all. And everything Will Smith did was completely out of his head. And now the LAPD is investigating whether he likes it or not. Welcome, everybody, to the Morning Rumble. I'm Tony Katz. It is good to be with you. Presented by Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org. If you happen to live in Indiana like I do, we actually have some very cool stuff coming next week with some endorsements that they have of some people locally. I'll get into that another time. But Will Smith is spinning, offering up the apologies to Chris Rock and anybody who will listen. And the Biden team is spinning like nothing else because, and they don't want to talk about it, you're not hearing that much about it. Joe Biden's trip to Europe was a bad trip. And it was a bad trip because what it said about American leadership on the world stage is that there is none under Biden. And that Joe Biden wants to, rest on this idea that he's got all this foreign policy experience. I mean, this was a reporter asking a question about his so-called foreign policy experience. Listen to this reaction.
Can you help us understand you have more foreign policy experience than any president who's ever held this office? Whether those are your personal feelings or your feelings as president, you understand why people would believe you, as someone commanding one of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world, saying someone cannot remain in power is a statement of U.S. policy. And also, are you concerned about propaganda use of those remarks by the Russians?
No and no.
Tell me why. You have so much experience. You are the leader of this country.
Because it's ridiculous. Nobody believes we're going to take down. I was talking about taking down Putin. Nobody believes that.
It's ridiculous that you would listen to my words and think that my words meant what I said.
We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principle, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power. God bless you all.
Your words. You said this man cannot remain in power. When that comes from the president of the United States, of course it sounds like regime change. And you look at the people, the Don Lemons of the world and others saying, no, he didn't mean that. You'd be a fool to think that. You're a fool to think that you can gaslight us. You spin all you want. He did what he did. And there's a series of things. Let me see if I can find it. There was a series of things that Joe Biden did. I've got like four of them. Let me see if I can find it right here. If you take a look at the gaffes that he had when he was in Europe, he said that we would respond to a chemical weapons attack in kind. What in the world is that? He said that to U.S. troops, right? It's the 82nd Airborne there in Poland. When you're in Ukraine, you'll see for yourself. We're now sending U.S. troops into Ukraine. They had to walk that one back as well. I mean, there was a series of things. And Peter Doocy did it right.
Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back?
What's getting walked back?
It made it sound like, just in the last couple days, it sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine. It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon, and it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
None of the three occurred.
None of the three occurred?
None of the three.
Mr. President?
What does that matter that none of the three occurred? That's a ridiculous statement. You said the things. That's what matters. You said three things that will make people nervous. It's not presidential what you did. It wasn't smart foreign policy what you did. It was actually a sign that you can't control your mouth, which is, of course, the story. You are older. You clearly are not okay, sir. These are the facts. Now, would I diagnose you? Absolutely, positively not. I would have no way of doing it. I'm not a doctor, although sometimes I play one, but what I do is my business. Secondly, you're not in front of me. These people who go on TV and they diagnose, it's disgusting, and it's wrong no matter who's doing it. But you're telling me if I'm on the bar stool with a couple of friends and I'm like, have you seen Biden lately? All of them will be like, yeah, he ain't all right, because he's not. And this trip once again proved that he is not up to it. Now, the 25th Amendment conversation, right? That's succession. How do you remove a president from office when he's incapable? This conversation's coming up. I saw people talking about it over the weekend. I know it's been brought up on Fox News the other day. Is this possible? The problem, well, of course, everything's possible. Is it probable? And I say no, because you've got a bigger issue. Who are you going to replace him with? Kamala Harris? You're going to replace Joe Biden with this.
If you could encourage that nation right now, what would you say? I would say...
That audio stinks. It's too bad, because Kamala Harris was asked by a radio show, how would you encourage the nation? And she basically said, and I'm quoting, I mean, it's just pathetic already. She is the absolute queen of the word salad. She cannot say anything that makes sense.
The governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Well, I'm sold. I am sold. Right there. You know, I wasn't sure if Vice President Harris could handle the job, but now with the passage of time, I've come to realize that the passage of time means that time has passed. She is so wise. You trust that in the Oval Office? Stop it. Stop it. Our problem is we elected fools. We elected incompetent people. And I don't want to hear it from the political left that somehow this is all okay. I get that you hated Trump, but that's not our story right now. Joe Biden can't do the job, and Kamala Harris is in over her head. And it's up to us to remember this, and it's up to us to vote differently. But it is also up to us to ensure that we know exactly how bad it was in Europe over the weekend. That what we saw from Joe Biden was gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. These things were flat out dangerous. Dangerous. And of course, the White House is walking these things back. That's exactly what they're doing. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows that everything he's doing is walking things back. Like this whole idea about Putin in power.
Saying he cannot remain in power does not mean regime change. What does it mean?
It means that I would hope it was expressing my outrage. He shouldn't remain in power. Just like, bad people shouldn't continue to do bad things. But it doesn't mean we have a fundamental policy to do anything to take Putin down in any way.
You just said he can't remain in power. He shouldn't be in power, but it doesn't mean. Then what are you saying it for? The argument here is not one that I've seen in a lot of places. Oh, so you're in favor of Putin staying in power. What is this tough guy thing going on here? That's not an argument. That's the line of the pseudo-intellectual thinking that they've gotten one over on you. If you want to take Putin out of power, go right ahead. You know what's going to happen? With a gun to the back of the head. Now, this is not me being violent. This is me recognizing what it would take to get rid of the man. That isn't the way it's going to go down. Now ask these tough guys whether or not they're in favor of it. Then ask how that's going to happen. Then ask who's going to take over when you get rid of the guy. Maybe you want a plan. Maybe that plan does not belong in the public sphere. Maybe when they yelled and screamed at Senator Lindsey Graham for discussing assassinating Vladimir Putin, they were right. Not that many people weren't talking about it. Of course, people were talking about it. They were talking about it all the time. I said as much. It doesn't mean you talk about it publicly. Of course, people are discussing it. Of course they are. Grow up. But doesn't mean you discuss it publicly. It means that when you are yelling and screaming about not engaging in provocative action against Vladimir Putin, you don't talk about regime change because that's provocative action. That is a provocative statement, and it gives him a lot of credibility. See, look, they're trying to kill me. See, look, they're trying to destroy me. This is what happens when you side with the Ukrainians. Come on, let's keep attacking. Meanwhile, we see the attack moving and shifting. There are peace talks going on in Turkey right now. But Zelensky has said he wants face-to-face talks with Putin. I'm like, there's no way that's coming. There's no way that's happening. Putin gets involved in face-to-face peace talks with Zelensky. That's a loss. There's no way for him to win that because Zelensky is alive. Zelensky has stood up to the Russian machine and has kicked the Russian military's ass. Putin looks like a loser in that exchange. It can't happen. It might, but it can't. It would be very, very bad optics if that were to take place. There's also talk that the Ukrainians are willing to just be neutral. So no joining NATO, but no getting involved if Russia should act out like this against, let's say, the Baltics. But what if it's Moldova, a neighbor of Ukraine to the south? I don't know how the neutral thing works. I do know that Putin seems to be concentrating more now on the east, giving up on this concept of taking Kyiv, and that's proof that the strategy of, hey, we'll just try and overwhelm them. They'll be so scared they'll collapse. We'll take the country in 3 days. Not only didn't work, is never going to work. They can't take the country that way. These Ukrainians are just too damn tough. They're just too damn tough. That's all there is to it. We'll see how that plays out. As for Will Smith, well, I don't think Will Smith is going to jail. Right? I don't think that's the way it's going down. I do think that he will have certain levels of career hit. And so allow me to be the first to say, how quickly do we see the one-on-one sit down with him and Oprah, and him, Oprah, and Jada, where Jada's the one who stands up strong? I think Will Smith looks bad every single way. Again, I'll say it. Nothing wrong with standing up for your spouse. Nothing wrong if a guy's being rude, if a guy's being offensive. Sometimes a guy needs a whack. I'm sorry. Why is this so shocking to everybody? The question is, should you do it? In the case of Will Smith, no, I don't believe that any of it was choreographed. I don't believe that any of it was planned. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever that it would be. But it's obvious that Will Smith did this because his wife was unhappy. He didn't think it was a big deal. He took it in stride as a professional. She wasn't the professional. He decided to react on her lack of professionalism. That's how it went down. Now he's apologizing. I apologize directly to you, Chris Rock. He did it on Instagram. It's not how you apologize. Why do I need to read your apology? I'm not the one you slapped. Me accepting or not accepting your apology is inconsequential. You go to that man's house, you knock on his door, and you ask for forgiveness. That's how a man does it. Now, maybe he did that as well, but I don't know why the hell you had to do it on Instagram. I don't need any of that in my life. But then I guess maybe we ask the question, did he even apologize? I don't know. If he did it just on Instagram and not face-to-face, did he even apologize? But we should not discount the idea of people standing up for the ones they love. I got to admit, I have a problem with that. Was Chris Rock, was Will Smith wrong? Yes, Will Smith was wrong. Did Chris Rock handle it well? A lot of people giving him a lot of applause for not responding, not getting physical back. I guess. But then there's, I don't know. I guess that's the right move, you know. Was he that stunned? Was he that shocked? Was he thinking about hitting him back? I was like, all right, guy is bigger than me. I don't think I want to get into a fight right here. Right? He reacts doesn't mean you have to. All right, I'll give him the credit because he certainly didn't deserve the thing. He didn't deserve getting slapped. But now there's a fear. The comedy club owners fear for their comics after this slap. I don't think they have to. I don't think watching Will Smith slap Chris Rock now gives people this kind of carte blanche, this feel that, I can just go into a comedy club. I don't like something. I can slap someone. Because it wasn't the joke. It wasn't the joke. It's that he took it personally. Right? So if a comic is telling jokes in a club, someone taking it personally is indeed the problem. Comedy clubs have less to worry about regarding people slapping a comic over insulting their wife than they do having to worry about the woke folk and the kind of comics they have in their club. That is the bigger problem, and I want comedy club owners to focus on that. Your issue is not someone saying, "How dare you say that about my wife?" Bang. That's not it. Your issue is woke people saying, "How dare you have this comic here? This comic is offensive to gay people or to straight people or to Jews or to Christians or to trans or this." Your issue is whether or not you would book Bill Burr or not. Would you book Dave Chappelle or not? Who is it that you book based on their politics? Will you book Joe Rogan? That's the question. If you tell me you won't because people would get upset, then that's the problem. I gotta tell you, I think there are very few people out there who would think of going after a comic. And we've certainly seen people go after a comic before. I don't think they're right. And this with Will Smith, I don't think that gives them the carte blanche. I really don't think that's the thing that puts people over the edge. I can appreciate comics speaking out about these things. I can appreciate comics saying, "What the hell is Will Smith doing? Just made my life a lot more difficult." Seriously, man, get a grip. Like, that's all fine by me. Comics want to go after Will Smith and call him every name in the book. He deserves everything he gets. Everything he gets on that subject. I just don't think you're going to see comics attacking comedy clubs. That's it right there. Now, while I hate the expression butthurt, if you want to know expressions I hate, that's one of them there, Cody. But Will was laughing. Will Smith was laughing until he saw that Jada Pinkett Smith wasn't, and that's when he decided to do something. Very, very strange. Troy, you are wrong. It was not about the ratings. This happened in the final 20 minutes of the show. If it was about ratings, it would have happened in the first 30 minutes of the show. This is not accurate. It's not always a freaking conspiracy theory, man. Come on. And they're all actors. Tell me what Chris Rock gets out of this. Tell me what he gains. Tell me how his career is somewhat better because of this. That's absolutely right. It absolutely, positively isn't. Just a quick look right here at the markets. We have the Dow up 212, the NASDAQ up 114. Oh, look at this. The FDA authorizes a fourth Pfizer vaccine dose for people ages 50 and older. Ain't that just absolutely grand? And this right here, I don't know what potential progress you think you're getting right there in these peace talks. I don't see where the progress is. Now the answer is, Liz, is yes. He could have just taken Jada by the hand and walked right out. He could have yelled at Chris Rock right from there, and it would have been seen as strong. Even though Chris Rock wasn't trying to insult anybody, it seems pretty obvious. He could have done a lot of things that he did not do. A lot of things. Kenneth wants us to know there'll be a great significance in the passage of time on January 20th, 2025. That would be a new president. That would be a new president. Well, I think it depends on who's going to run, right? Is Trump going to run? Is this all about Ron DeSantis? Ron DeSantis had a pretty good line, by the way, when discussing the hosts of the Oscars, talking about don't say gay bill. It's not what the bill is, and it's just it's wrong to say so, and people are lying about it. He said this.
To providing protections for parents and enforcing parents' rights. The one thing I'll say about that is if the people who held up degenerates like Harvey Weinstein up as exemplars and as heroes and as all that, if those are the types of people that are opposing us on parents' rights, I wear that like a badge of honor.
Your move, Wanda Sykes, because Governor DeSantis just Will Smithed you. He really did. He really, really, really did. Yes, Will Smith wanted the trophy, Deborah. He wanted the act. Of course he did. And that's why he didn't leave. But the other side of this is that the Academy didn't tell him to leave. They let him sit there. Don't ever tell me about privilege again. Because until I get Will Smith privilege, where I can slap a guy and then stay in the room and people will check on my welfare, I want that. I want that. I do. I want that privilege desperately, without question. Does anyone believe that Putin is worried about Joe Biden and what he says? No, I don't believe he's worried at all about that. Of course not. But the point is that without strong leadership, without a core, without a principle, you can't have a sound foreign policy from the nation. It can't be done because the foreign policy will be insignificant if you have people who won't engage in any of it. You need policy that is sound, and then you need people who are competent to follow through on it. This is exactly what you need. 150% of what you need. Can't really be denied, guys. That is it right there. Hold on. Maybe they're on what is that? On Rumble. Hey, says they all deserve an Oscar upside the head. Come on now. This is just the kind of violence we don't need. We don't need that at all. Good Lord. Goodness gracious. Could we please? A little decorum. But I'm glad to see you guys commenting right there on Rumble. Rumble.com/Tony Katz. Rumble.com/Tony Katz. And then what we're doing over there, boom, at Locals. That's content you're not going to get anywhere else. Some behind the scenes of the radio show, some live streams going on. You want to go over there. You want to click on that Join Locals button at Rumble and become a subscriber. You're going to get things you just cannot get anywhere else. Really, really working hard to build that out. Very, very, lots of cool things happening and going on. I need some recommendations of interviews. I don't need them to be the most popular people in the world. I need them to be super smart in the things that they're super smart in. And I need recommendations of people to interview. Who would you like me to talk to? Tony@TonyKatz.com. That is my email. You can reach out to me there. Tony@TonyKatz.com. Who do you want to see me interview? Who's the person? What's the subject? That's the question. That's the question. Who do you want me to talk to? And I'm going to go talk to those people. We've got a lot already lined up, but I want to hear from you. What interviews do you want? And we are going to bring, whether it's economics, whether it's culture, whether it's more cigars and bourbon, which of course is one of my loves. I'm in. I'm in and down. So you got to let me know. You got to let me know who you want to hear from, and I will make that happen. That's the plan. Glad you guys were here. Glad you're a part of the Morning Rumble. My thanks to the good people at AmericansForProsperity.org. Fantastic. Look at them again. Gorgeous. One more time. Bam. Right there. AmericansForProsperity.org. Appreciate them quite a bit allowing this to happen. We'll catch you tomorrow, guys. Take care.